All right, so I'm about halfway through the Holy Evil War arc, which is this entire volume. I know before I was splitting the videos up with half of the chapter, or half of the volume sets here. That's taken too long, and I'm impatient, so I want to read quicker. Because I'm loving Berserk, though this section, it feels more introduction. We're gathering more characters. Guts has now a group, and I think this is so far my least favorite, but the arc hasn't really picked up yet. We're just gathering our Dungeons and Dragon campaign characters is how I'm feeling right now, because we added a witch. What? Okay. So I do like what we're doing with Guts' character. The fact that he had to choose before between fighting Griffith, so his anger and rage, and protecting Casca. And now that he has her, that he's protecting her, how does he continue to fill his promise to her to take care of her, to protect her? How does he get her back to where she was before? Is that possible? Where can he possibly take her that is safe? And while before, when he was on his own, he could simply act as this sword, this demon, this monster, just fight and fight and fight and not even worry about your own survival. But now he has to be both a sword and a shield. He has to protect Casca and he has to fight. He has to care about his own life, because if he dies, Casca dies. And that eventually just breaks him. We see like numerous times throughout the series of this black demon dog thing whispering in his ear, making us believe he's going to turn into this monster and that it's inevitable. There's no stopping it. This is who he is. It's something dark inside of him. And then when he does snap, he lashes out at Casca. He hurts her the same way Griffith hurt her, which is terrible. And that results in her fearing him. So what do? Guts needs help. So he accepts the help of others. Farnese, I'm hearing Farnese a lot, but I'm going with Farnese. I like Farnese more. We learn about her backstory, and I want to love it. I don't know why I don't, because I love a messy, crazy character. And her isolation and her lashing out and her need to be wanted and want to desire and own things because she can't have that emotional, I guess, need fulfilled by her parents who just try to monetarily send her gifts and money, and that's good enough. They can't spend time with her kind of thing. I don't know why I didn't love her section. I enjoyed it. I appreciate it. I love that. Why Serpico, not Scorpio. I don't know what I'm doing with astrology, apparently, is devoted to her and like the half siblings and his history with his own mother and how she had been pushing him away because he rejected her because she didn't know that they were siblings. And she ends up saving him by having him burn his own mother alive so him as her family would not be killed as well. But something felt off. It felt too obvious. Like, this is the standard backstory, rich person in isolation, money can't buy happiness, and it led her to madness. As she watched people burn. I don't know what I wanted. I don't dislike it. I guess I just wanted something different, something unexpected, something more. But we're getting more because now that she has her, I guess, faith shooken of what the world truly is. Like, she can see Puck now. She can see these monsters. It's different. Her worldview is collapsed in upon itself, and she needs to reform it. And she's turning to Guts. She's turning to the Black Swordsman to figure out what is real, what she should follow to think for herself and not just be a religious zealot. So I'm interested in where she's going to go. I like that Scorpio turns to Guts and is just like, listen, the only reason I haven't fought and tried to kill you again is because Farnese said not to. But if anything happens to her, if she were to die, I'm coming after you. I really like Scorpio. Isidro is still a comedy delight paired with Puck. I love them. I'm liking that we're going with his insecurities, that he wants to be this brave warrior, but he's still just a kid and he can't live up to the hype of everyone else that's in this group. Rightfully so, but then he is outshined by our witch lady, who is why I feel like this is a Dungeons & Dragons campaign now, because we've introduced magic to the story. A wizard did it! Use Fireball! She has not used Fireball yet, but I'm waiting for that moment. And I can totally say her name. Honestly, really, I can. I'm going with Sharuka, but is it K? Ka? Ah? I don't know how the end syllable. I'm going with Sharuka. Shruke. I feel like it's supposed to be K, like kettle. K. Don't know. Sharuka. I'm interested in what's going to happen with her. Right now, she's like, hey, I have all this knowledge, but I have never used it practically. And Isidro has all this confidence in himself, but doesn't have the base skills of a warrior and is relying, as Gut says, it's better to rely on your instincts unless you plan to train for however many years to get good and then go out and find your own style. Where she has trained for God knows how many years in the art of magic, but needs to learn to use it practically. So they're like, they each have what the other needs, and he resents her because she has the knowledge to take command and is in charge because we got trolls attacking a village and she knows about magic and this other plane of dimension where these monsters, including fairies, or pixies, whatever Puck is, have come from. And the villagers are turning her away because witches, heretic, God forbid, you were pretending you're playing dress up because you're just a kid, but you should knock that off. Someone else would burn you at the stake. I'm very excited to see where this goes. So while not my favorite arc, it has potential in introducing new ideas. That is what I'm liking most about Berserk, the fact that every arc is different. And I love it for different reasons. So right now I'm kind of mixed. Berserk just has put such a high potential to it and set the bar so high that it's hard to clear it every single time. But I am enjoying what is happening. All right, cut to past Jessica. All right, back with Berserk. So Guts and Casca made it back to the blacksmith's place who has sadly passed away. It's very sad, but they said their goodbyes. And okay, I know Erica's just a kid, but I'm not liking how people are talking, like, around Casca, because clearly she can't make decisions for herself, so it's just like, hey, if you stay with us, then Casca won't wander off again, or something like that. And I need her to be herself soon. Alright, then Guts is remembering Griffith, and he's thinking, just as I got her back, no, in the middle of swinging my sword to get her back, I saw him. The way he appeared before me, he wasn't a demon, he looked so human. As if he'd been stolen from the past the way he used to be. The instant I saw him, I forgot my urge to kill. So he did forget about it. And then we get angry Guts and being like, and that can't be. It was an aimless journey, relying just on strange rumors and subtle sensation of the brand, without even knowing where he was, wandering and pushing through the dead spirit, stalking his shadow, when he wasn't even in this world, but now he's in the same world as me, on the same ground where I walk, where my sword can reach. So he's thinking about how, where did his hatred and rage go that he would just let go, and then a little bit later we realize oh wait, actually before we get to the fetus thing, we're going to see Rickard, and who is standing in the gravesite memorial that we got? We have Griffith in the graveyard, and is he threatening Rickard? I don't know what he's doing here. Apparently he's here to test his heart because such a pretty picture. So pretty. So Guts freaking out, obviously. Rickard tries to stop him, and Griffith's saying he's here to test himself because fetus thing is a part of him. How does he phrase it? Zod protects Griffith from Guts' attack. They're fighting. So Rickard is all confused because he doesn't know that Griffith betrayed everybody. He doesn't know what happened during the eclipse. He's just happy to see Griffith again. Why are you fighting? And Griffith says, throbbing, a faint throbbing. My blood should have been frozen. These feelings must belong to that infant that fused into my vessels. So the child is part of Griffith, but he is still, I guess, in control. And that's all as far as I've read up to. Okay, I don't feel I properly captured the anxiety and shock in the moments because my God, to turn the page where they just left Griffith in the castle and he got away and I think they're going to have chase after him, what's going to happen, for him to just be standing in that graveyard, in the memorial, a place he should not be, and for Guts to fight him, just his appearance shook me to my core, was not expecting it. For Rickard to not know the truth of the eclipse, for him to learn it afterwards, words still escape me. But I also really like the fact that before Guts had left Griffith, like, shocked in the snow after their confrontation when he first left, and now it's Griffith leaving Guts behind. I want to say losing something of his, because Griffith felt like he owned Guts. It was a possession. And Guts, for a long time, the only thing he had to keep himself moving forward was his hatred for Griffith. And then, like, Griffith protects Casca. Again, is it a possession kind of way? Is it to hurt Guts? Is it to say, I still have power over you? And Guts sees him not as a monster, but as who he was before it all. And is that anger still there? It clearly is, but he has a new priority protecting Casca. Oh, God almighty, I love that scene. I also really like this moment with Guts here. He's fighting Zod, and it's just like everything that's brought him this way, but I can fight. I've struggled through countless nights searching for him, and now all you are is in my way. I love that, just that line. I've loved it in anything that says you're in my way, like move. And he's fighting Zod, and it's like, you're nothing. Griffith is my opponent right now. Get out of my way. He needs to get to him. I just love that line. But I am interested to see how the fetus baby is going to come into play. Alright, Zod just busted through the mines that used to belong to elves that the blacksmith had been mining from, and that was protecting Casca at one point in time, so that's now destroyed. Rats were falling about to crush Casca. The mark of the curse is bleeding like crazy. And then Griffith saves her. And she's reaching out for him and touching him. And I just need him to get his hands off of her. She's sensing her child. That's what I'm going with. And he needs to get away from her. He's saying he's going to get his own kingdom. And he's riding off on Zod. I was worried for a second there he was going to take Casca with him. Would not have been okay with that. See what I gotta deal with when I'm trying to read? Same thing with anime. He's under the impression that I can speak Japanese and can just block the screen. Okay, so town, village, whatever, is being taken over by the Kyushan army that are fighting, and the one that we seen that was going after Guts, who's looking for apparently the Falcon of Light, who is apparently on the winds, because one of the people who's seen their parents burned to death said so, goes up to the guy in charge and they're chatting, and the guy in charge is calling him down to the dirt, saying you're barely a warrior, you used to be a slave, you sided with the wrong people in the past, yada yada, and he's calling him out, and then the guy who was after Guts stands up. I thought he was about to punch him in the face. I'm like, okay, go off. No, he catches an arrow that was meant for the guy in charge there, catches it out of the air before it hits him, and then his two men beat them, the attackers, break their armor. Yeah, and he's like, all right, now I'll continue on with my search for the Hawk of Light. We were just in a hurry to stop them from killing you. Who shows up? Griffith. Griffith shows up, just walking in like nothing. Okay. Okay, and then he just killed the one in charge that he just saved. And got past them like it was nothing. Griffith is a terrible, terrible, terrible person, but he makes an entrance. Shoot your arrows, kill him. Buddy who's dealt with the Guts in the past says, wait. All the arrows just fall to the ground? Not one arrow. Did he dodge? Impossible. No way he could do that. Okay, and then in comes Zod. Why is Zod with you? What's he after? This seems like an easy fight to him. Someone with cool armor shows up. My enemies, you're pardoned for being on horseback. My name is Locust. Can we get the Horseman of the Apocalypse? I know that's like, what's it, Pestilence, not Locust, but still. Okay, written here, guided by an oracle, which is what the invading army had said about, started all this. The moonlight night Locust. I accept your sword. Delight it. Okay, so it looks like Locust is on Griffith's side. Someone with another cool outfit showing up in a mask. Irakasas? I'm not saying that right. Why is our clan exile here? And he says, I heard the oracle, you're the Hawk of Light. You're lovely. Someday I'll lop off your heads and make it mine. That's a good way to introduce yourself. I think he's asking me to join Griffith's team, though. Until then, I'll let no harm come to you. And he's taking on the ones who just beat up the ones. Why is Griffith getting cool characters with him so quickly? Who is this? Okay, we got some elephant, rhino, fish, plated armor thing coming. A naga. It spits fire through its shield thing, and also may have blades attached to its shield. Hawk of Light, savior of the world. That's one way of interpreting what he's done. Or perhaps... oh, it's Little Witch Girl! And she has got a little fairy elf too! The angel is the Hawk of Darkness, the master of the sinful black sheep, the king of the blind white sheep, the one who shall call down upon the world an age of darkness. We are now surely in the midst of some extraordinary tale. Alright, so I finished actually Farnese and Serpico's, I don't know if I'm saying his name right, chapter. I don't like her. We're getting more with backstory, but the idea of a privileged girl who is just showered with items but doesn't have like any individuals who is there with her, love her. Her parents are always gone away. They're just like, here, take these toys. She held on to a rabbit toy plushie teddy bear that was from like a family vacation. It was a good memento for it. And as soon as her father seen that it was dirty, burn that. Get rid of it. I'll get you new toys. Like, doesn't understand the emotional investment. And that led her to be crazy, as well as like burning small animals. Like this little bird that I had didn't take to me. I was doting on it yesterday, so let's just destroy it, set it on fire, burn it alive in the forest where I've made an altar, a cemetery for everything that displeases me. Not my favorite character trope arc setting thing, but it could be good. It could be entertaining. It's at least it's her character. Then you had Serpico, who was like from poverty, was beaten up as a kid. His mother was in the household of apparently Farnesi's father, and she had a child, so they're half siblings. I don't think Farnesi knows, because he was told to keep it a secret and not tarnish the family name. So he ends up almost dying. She takes him in, cares for him, not because maybe a little bit because she wants somebody to care about her, but I think that's more in the back of her mind. It's more of a, now you belong to me kind of thing. Almost Griffith vibes, now that I think about it. She wants to own and possess. But there's more vulnerability to her in the sense of, I want somebody to care for me, but I don't believe that anyone will care about me because my parents don't care about me, and they're the one biologically programmed to need to care about me, and they don't, so why would anyone else? So I'll take what I can get, and that is through possession. Maybe I do like Farnesi a little bit. Because Griffith exists in this story, I think I do like her a little bit. It's an interesting parallel. So he put his mother in a institution because she had kind of gone crazy and end up having to burn her alive during the Inquisition thing that's happening because of Farnesi. She was the one who, she went a little crazy, was in love with him, definitely. It's weird. And rejected all suitors, had him duel for her, but he was never taking any duel seriously, so she'd whip him. And when she was assigned a husband, she set the house on fire and was sent to, I don't know, was a convent somewhere where she couldn't cause any trouble. Her father had given up on her, devil child, but Serpico, you still go with her, and then she started rejecting him-ish, because she already threw herself at him once and he rejected her, and now it's just mistress and servant kind of relationship, until he said mother when his mother was in the flames, about to be set aflame. In most circumstances, the entire family is killed. So she saved him by giving him the torch to throw on the pyre, be like, listen, prove you are mine, and that is not your mother. So interesting. She definitely does not know that he's her brother, and it's weird. So now they're going after the Black Swordsman, and I don't know how I feel about her. All right, this is the first time I've actively disliked Berserk, just for the last, chapter, so just a couple pages, but still. We are starting off with what was interesting, because Guts he feels the weight of his sword, saying, has it ever been this heavy to carry? Because not only does he have to protect Casca, but he has to keep himself alive. He never had any value of his own life before. So he could wield the sword recklessly, he could do dangerous things, but now he knows if anything happens to him, no one will be around to protect Casca. So he actually has to care about keeping himself alive. Casca is still not herself, and he's remembering what she used to be like, as well as then she's, eating his food, and Puck is like, hey, Guts, you're running yourself ragged, you also need to take care of yourself, you need to sleep, you need to eat, and he's like, yeah, I know, I need to stay alive for her. And we see the last moment she smiled at him, when he falls asleep, Puck falls asleep on guard duty, my sweet boy, and the dreams come, the monsters are affecting them, and we get that wolf-dog thing again, with the duality of creatures, they're good and bad inside man, and whichever one you feed is the one you turn into, kind of thing. And this one is saying that Guts resents Casca, that he wants to hurt her, he wants to devour her, he's looking at her as a wound that Griffith inflicted on Guts, used her to hurt him, and he should want to hurt her to take power from Griffith, be like Griffith, someone he admires, stuff like that. And leading up to it, then he wakes up and, still affected by the monsters, chokes her, makes her scared of him, and then that distance between them grows. And I like the idea that we were, focusing on this is something that Griffith done to Guts, not only something that happened to Casca, because my biggest issue having so far is that's what it's always kind of felt like. This never felt like something that Casca is having to deal with, get over, deal with her trauma. The way trauma is used in Berserk, the way Guts had been abused in the past, the way Griffith had been abused in the past, they both reacted differently to it. So it would have been interesting to see how Casca would overcome the assault that was inflicted on her. But no, we just take away her character. And she's someone completely different. But I will look past that because it was in Demon Dimension World, so clearly broke her mind. Okay. But now it's like very firmly, this was an assault on Guts, once again taking agency away from Casca. But okay, whatever, he's the main character. Fine with that. And I did find it really interesting when he's talking about the distance growing between them, how naive he was when he got her back, thinking it can somehow mend itself. And he's saying this is his punishment for leaving her alone in the darkness all these years, showing that was wrong for him to leave her. And how it's important for him to continue to turn his back against Griffith. That dog thing had been saying, why are you spending so much time with her when now that Griffith's back, you can chase him down. So fine with that. Great. We're having Guts recognize the choices that he's made and now making new choices. Interesting. Casca repeatedly tries to run from him because she's afraid of him since he strangled her. So fair. Both have the perspective of what's happening because he needs to keep her close because when sun goes down, demons are attacking and he needs to protect her, so he got to tie her up. And understandable, but not good from her perspective. So eventually she does get away. Puck's, of course, asleep. And she immediately stumbles upon 3 bandits who immediately sexually assault her. Graphically shown. I know sexual assault is used against every character in this series, but it's never so graphic as it is with Casca, and it's starting to drive me a little bit crazy. I realize the author came back and said like he regrets using it so frequently, but this one is just too much, because then Guts ends up hearing her scream as it is graphically shown of her legs being spread apart, forced open. She has a flashback of the trauma from the eclipse, and she slaughters the 3 assailants. So, brutality and violence is quite honestly the easiest and laziest way for a writer to use sexual assault in a series and respond to it, but whatever. I'm in a bad mood. So Gut shows up. He tries to get the knife or sword, whatever, from her. She attacks him because she still sees him as a threat. He pins her down and then forcibly kisses her and pins her down despite her saying no and trying to push him out because she doesn't know who he is, doesn't feel safe with him, and he tries to overpower her, pins her legs to the ground before finally realizing what he's doing and gets off her. Because that was a lovely thing to witness, as he himself is now acting more like Griffith wanting possession over her, is the vibe I'm getting. Granted, he's probably in one side of his mind thinking, I can trigger some kind of flashback to when we were together, when we loved each other, and try to trigger those memories. But instead, we're triggering sexual assault memories. Don't like this. Don't like this at all. Don't like what's going on there. But anyway, they're trying to get to Puck's home, where hopefully they'll be safe. Maybe we can fix her memories. I don't know. Kid who I like in name, I gotta remember. Cedro, I like him. So he is running away from Serpico, I think his name is, and Farnese, and that's a delight. So I'm happy that Cedro is coming back into the story. Puck has found them, and now they're going to meet up with Guts. And I'm going to read like a few more chapters to get this bad taste out of my mouth. But they're going to be all together, so that's our group for this arc. All right, I am actually over halfway done this volume now. We had switched to, apparently, I don't know what we're doing with Griffith. What is he doing? What's going on? So, Guts allowed the group, to join them, I think mostly because he just doesn't trust himself to be alone with Casca anymore, as well as he wants more people there to protect her and hopefully make her smile again. Cool. Then we cut to some guy named Mule. He's a lord, but am I supposed to take him seriously when his name is Mule? No. But he does seem like a pretty chill, okay guy, because he was talking about how his family has been killed and he wants to save his people from the invading army, and he's not doing this for praise or glory or anything, he's just doing it because there's been so much death and he doesn't want his family's death to be in vain, he needs to save his people. So he charges forward, hoping that I guess they can take out and rescue his people, or take out the invading army and save his people. And that's when Griffith shows up, along with a guy who looks like Robin Hood and all the other cool-looking characters that we were introduced to previously. There's a psychic girl who's adorable. I like her. Seriously, Mule? Why is his name Mule? But Griffith ends up killing the leader of the army without issue, and he's being praised as this hero, the Band of the Hawks. And I don't know how I feel, because people are worshiping him and praising him like he was previously in the Golden Age. And it's all good and lovely, and he's helping people. And I'm like, I don't trust any of you. And there's these war demons that he's controlling and commanding, and Zod is there, and I'm just like, what? I like the Locust guy though. He looks cool. Oh, I said Locust was probably my favorite. He's not. This guy with the cool mask looking thing. I like them. I say guy, might be a girl, who knows? And there's people playing in the yards and being. I don't know if she's cute or creepy. Sonia, cute or creepy? Or both? Going with mostly creepy. Just dead look in her eyes. And then when she goes through the forest and the war demon things are there, they grab her up and threaten to eat her. And she's just like, will you guys put me down? Like, you demons are holding you by your ankles. And she's like, God, you're such an inconvenience. Like, he licks her forehead. And she's like, I'm gonna tell on you. Put me down. And that's when Grunbill shows up. He's a giant monster-looking thing, and the guy that's basically Robin Hood. Griffith got some cool people in his company, okay? But then Griffith pulls a Kikyo and got the souls of the dead hovering around him. Is he feeding on the souls of the dead? Because that wouldn't surprise me. But there's people around him who are saying goodbye to their loved ones, who look so pretty. Yeah, so he's letting people say goodbye to their loved ones, and again, he's going to end up being worshipped like a god with this kind of stunt. I don't trust him, but he wants a castle. All he wants is a kingdom of his own, and what is he going to do to get that? Is he done sacrificing people? Are more people going to be sacrificed? Are they going to hand him a castle, a kingdom? I don't know. What's Griffith doing? He's in the mortal realm. I'm trying to determine if he's trying to start the apocalypse, or if he's seriously, I just want my kingdom, and I'll do good things so people give me a kingdom. And then it's going to be a conversation of, do we blame him for the bad things that he's done in the past? And the answer is yes, we blame him for that. What's Griffith doing? That is all I got. I will talk to you later. I gotta finish this volume. Alright, I changed my mind. I'm gonna keep reading because I don't want to end this video on a semi-negative. I want to end this on I love this series so very much, because I do. So I'm going to keep reading until it is the best thing I've ever read in my life again, because that shouldn't take very long. Alright, looks like this is when we're going to get Farnesi's development, because she's with Guts and them, and she's realizing that she has no skills, and she feels like a burden to them. Her job was to protect Casca and tend to the fire, because when the bog zombie monsters were crawling out and attacking, she can't fight. She ended up burning the kid, and she tried washing clothes and just tore it up. She tried getting food and ended up picking poisonous mushrooms. She don't have the skills for this. And she feels so small, and she was raised to be small out of the way, and that's why she acted out the way she did. And Sir Bo's like, hey, do you want to go back to the Holy City? And she's like, no, I'll just be buried there. I'm not going back. Here, I'm learning for myself, I'm discovering myself, and I'm very excited to see what becomes of her. Okay, so Isidro and Puck are still a comedy duo. I still love them, but they just stole a bunch of apples from an old man, and he was trying to be nice, like, you rotten kid, how dare you steal my stuff? So he gets the apples back, and it's just like, here, gives him an apple. It's like, I understand how hard it is to grow up in this world. Just take that, be done with it, but I need to go. I need to conduct my business. And Isidro just gives the man a hug. It's like, oh, thank you, kind sir, and then hits him over, and then knocks him over, hits him on his head, knocks him unconscious, throws an apple at his face like stingy, and steals all his apples. Rude, 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 rude. I have no justifications for this. That's very mean. I'm sad, but you gotta do what you gotta do. They gotta eat. Also, there's trolls in the woods. All right, so Guts is training Isidro in how to fight, and he's impressed that he's using the knowledge to hit down low, because the kid is short, and he's like, but you can't do that forever. They'll get used to it. And using two hands and fighting, and he's like, yeah, do what you're doing good, think for yourself. And he's like, shouldn't I be learning basics before techniques like this and finding my own things? Like, you want to learn to fight like me? That's not going to work. We're different. You got to find your own way. So, interesting. And then they got attacked by the trolls, and Isidro ended up saving Casca and Farnesi, which is fantastic. Love my boy. But he's not strong enough to go up against them, and saved by some young witch girl. So, we have witches. The witch has an elf. And Farnesi isn't screaming heretic, so character development on her part. All right, so they met a man in the forest whose party was destroyed and killed by trolls because they went to look for a witch who may or may not exist in the forest to help slay the trolls that randomly appeared. And gets to the witch's house, no problem whatsoever. They pass through a barrier with ease, I'm assuming because of Guts and Casca. Maybe Serpgo as well. He might have some hidden talents as well. And then golems come and attack and defend the place, which I do like golems. They're probably one of my favorite creatures and mythologies. So eventually they easily realize you gotta take out the talisman thing in the center of them. They fall to dust, all good. And they get invited into the witch's house. And it's the witch from the beginning in the forest, and she's the apprentice witch. And I like her already. She's a cute, adorable. I don't know how I feel about her possibly joining the party, because now the party's expanded rather quickly. Guts definitely doesn't like this. He's uncomfortable. I kind of like it now. And they go to meet the actual witch, her master. Was it Lily? Flora. Promise to make them a talisman to protect them from the evil spirits on their journey if they take her apprentice to help slay all the trolls. So all for that, and I do like this last line that she gives them. The mansion is protected by talisman as well. I guarantee safety for the night. You may rest easy. And it's just like they have not had a good night's rest, so if she can give them a talisman to keep them from being attacked at night and then get a good night's sleep, there's a chance they might be able to take down Griffith and whatever he's planning. All right, so we got some information here on the astral world where the gods or God's hands came from, and basically on fate itself and who Guts is fighting, as well as an oracle who predicted the return of the Hawk of Light of Darkness, and that's why Witch Lady went over and seen Griffith previously to confirm the oracle's prediction. And it's, yeah, she describes him as, I saw him, an enormous flow of awe that engulfs and charms people, a fortune so strong that no blade of the physical world can touch him, the Hawk. He appears to be human, but spiritually he cannot be called that, an existence that no one in the physical world can rival alone. Surely he is absolute. So the idea of him being responsible for the brand of sacrifice on Guts' neck, like you choose to defy God, you choose to fight, and it's like, yeah, I'm going to hit him where it hurts. And she's like, it can't be done. And her mentor, Flora, is just like, you have all this knowledge, but you miss what's right in front of you. The man lives. He defied the odds once. He is now in your path, and to go upon that, make of it what you will, he's still alive, he's still fighting, and that she believes God bestows upon us fate, but it is the children of men who choose it. This is my belief. So you're put on a certain path, but you can make the changes, and I like that. She also talked to Guts about the Behelit, about how whoever it is meant for, it will find its way into the hands of. So if it's not meant for Guts, it will eventually leave his hands and be in the person who it's supposed to be when they come into power. And Puck is just like, nope, it's mine. I'm taking care of it. But I also don't like the fact, do you even know what his favorite food is? It's cheese. Is he feeding this thing? Why are we feeding the Behelit? Let it starve. Yeah, so now they're getting ready to go fight the trolls. All right, I definitely see what people mean when they said that this saga chapter arc is different. A lot of magic. Not sure I feel about that. So Serpgo got a magic cloak that controls winds and a sword that has wind powers. Cedaro got a knife that has lava with magic of fire. Puck is apparently a pixie, descendant of wind spirits. Love that for him. He had fun. And Casca and Farnese got some chains of, what was it? It wasn't iron. Silver chains. Makes sense. But no real details on what the chains are for, unless it's just plain protection, and silver works well with magic. And they get shown off, and it's all happy, and it's like, no, Casca's coming with us, I don't care if she's in the way, someone will be responsible for taking care of her. When I leave her alone, nothing good comes of it. She needs to be within reach of my sword, I need to protect her. So, Guts is all for that. And then Skull Knight Buddy shows up to talk to Flora, and she's just sipping her tea when a skull in a cloak comes up, and well, I'm assuming it's Skull Knight. It looks like Skull face. Gotta be him. And he's even talking about the laws of causality and Guts' place in the plan. So she better not be like about to die and he's come to collect her soul or something like that. We're gonna see what happens. Moving on to the trolls. Happier times with the trolls. All right, end of this volume set. So they went to the town, and surprise, surprise, the Church of Holy See are not a big fan of people dressed up as witches. So the father there is like, no, Cashew, are you like traveling performers? You're not a real witch. This is a lie. You went to the woods to find her. They don't exist. You couldn't find her, yada yada. And Gut's just like, hey, listen, this one's a pilgrim looking for traveling for health. You're supposed to show charity to them, so give us a place to stay for the night. So they're gone in to rest up. There were little kids throwing rocks at the witches, to which Gut scared them off. And now we're just waiting for the trolls to attack, and of course they did. Witch got some certification spells, I guess, put around the church to protect people, and Serpico just used his wind sword but forgot to use the words to channel said power. But he remembered at the end, so we'll see in the next volume set if it worked. Isidro is having some issues. He had a conversation with the man who they found in the forest that hired them to take care of the trolls. And it was a lot of him running away from home, pursuing his own dreams, being disrespectful for the man for living in this small village all of his life and not achieving anything. Like, his dream was to see the witch lady again, which he did. And it's just like, that's all you were dreaming about? Don't compare yourself to me. So he's idolizing Guts more and trying to find his own path. So I think this might be more a Isidro chapter because he's also jealous of the witch lady who's been given, she's just a kid like himself, younger than him, and she's been given all this responsibility. People are respecting her, and he's still being treated like the kid he is. I do not like that once again, like trolls came to the village, someone was killed, 2 were killed, and the girl was raped and carried off into the woods. Like, is sexual assault just going to be... I know they said it's going to be a lot, but it's an unnecessary amount. All right. Overall, this volume set was different. We are introducing magic, and I like magic. I prefer it in the Dresden Files. I should read the Dresden Files again. But we're going to see what Berserk does with it. I very much trust them to do something interesting. So I will check in later.